The Beastie Boys. Now, I was born in '84, so the Beastie Boys have been basically a part of my life since growing up. I was really little when the License to Ill came out, but still, they were basically at the forefront of rap, and they were literally signed by Def Jam as one of their Def Jam's original artists. So, watching the movie, it's on Apple Plus or Apple TV. I don't know. They all have their new little subscription services, right? So what it is it's really well done actually. It's because one of the Beastie Boys died. I'm sorry, I'm not like a Beastie Boy fanatic, so I don't know all their names, right? But I guess like the ringleader died, right? The one that had all the inspiration. I mean, it's really cool because he's the one that he traveled all over the world. He did the whole free Tibet thing. He was an inspiration for all, really. But then with the story, like the Beastie Boys story, it's a really good story, right? The way they do it, it's kind of like a conversation, really. Like they're up on stage, they got a big screen behind them, right? And then they just tell their story from the beginning, from the rooter to the tutor, right? And it's really like, first off, I had no idea that Def Jam stopped paying them royalties after License to Ill, right? So I'm like, man, you got to fight for your right to party, right? That whole album, yeah, they made their money performing, but then Russell Simmons just shut them off, stopped paying them, right? So they had to do, they actually started like their own little label and where they got signed to Capitol. Then they started their own little label, and then they brought back friends from years before. And then it's another funny thing, like you got to fight for your right to party. Like how popular that song is, it has been it's almost, yeah, it's over 30 years old, right? They made that song making fun of frat boys and making fun of it, right? They literally just was just having fun doing their little thing, making fun of how people were. And then what they were saying is that they ended up turning into those type of people. So they everything that like they built their whole little Beastie Boys around, like friendship and all that kind of stuff. Like they were saying that after their first album, it was just too much, right? They traveling here, then right after there, they had to travel here, and they even say it's like their whole plan was just to be as grotesque as possible, right? Like they even said they had a big dick on their stage, right? So imagine, yeah, it's funny the first 1,000 times that you do it, but then like they were saying, it just got repetitive and it got super super old, and it's just then the drinking came up, the partying came up, and they literally, like I said, they turned into people that at first they couldn't stand, right? So then after they went off tour, they kind of broke up, right? They didn't break up, but they broke up, right? And one went to California, one kind of did his own thing, and another one kind of, he even says he was experimenting with drugs, right? So the one that went to California got in a movie, and I mean, it's not the highest quality movie, but movie nonetheless. And so they did that, and then like after, it's like I said, it's a very interesting story because you think like that's because like their very first album, License to Ill, was so popular, and it's so popular to this day, right? If you don't know, you got to fight for your right to party. Like, where the hell have you been for all these years, right? It's a very popular song. And then so then like with that being thought, you're like, oh well, they've been rich since the beginning. Like they hit their first album and been going since, but that's not the truth. Like they went broke, they did this. I mean, basically every like fairy tale comes crashing down, and that's what it was. And just to be able to see the conflict that they had to go through, like together as a family, right? The three of them, and then like being burnt by friends, being burnt by, and then also burning friends, right? Because they basically just said screw everybody once they got where they wanted to go, and then took off, and then they came crashing down and things, right? So it's a really interesting story to see how everything was touching, emotional, because there's only two of them, and then just to see that they were able to make it together from, I mean, first off, like, they didn't get any education. Like, they started this in their teens, and they're like, yeah, we just started skipping school and went to music, all right? So if music, like, music literally was their life. If they didn't do music, then they would have never, I mean, I don't doubt they would have ever accomplished anything in life, right? Because they didn't care about anything but music, which is also another lovely thing to hear about, because you don't really hear that today. Like, literally didn't go to school at all. They skipped everything and just went straight to music. And then it's even more interesting because one of the main people didn't even consider himself an artist until 10 years later, right? So imagine you've been making music for 10 years, travel the whole entire world, but yet you yourself don't even take yourself serious, right? Kids. And then just to, like, because we all grew up with them. Now they're all gray haired and everything, and it's just seeing them walk up on stage and then like watching them in the past. It's really interesting. So if you like the Beastie Boys, you've never heard of the Beastie Boys, anything, I suggest go watch it. It's a really good movie. It's about 2 hours long. It's not gonna say it's action packed because it's not an action movie, but it's very insightful, and I enjoyed it, and I think that you guys would like it as well.